Snow Crash delivers a thrilling story set in a novel cyberpunk world with surprising parallels to the history of society and religion. I had no idea that the pizza delivery driver would one day work to save the world, though I should have figured that out since protagonist is literally in his name. The factions and locales of the world feel new to me and seem eerily grounded in reality. Instead of cities and states or provinces, there are these franchilets, franchise neighborhoods, basically big parking lots and stretches of land owned and secured by corporations like the mafia and for-profit religions. Beyond franchilets, there's a giant floating city of netted together ships called the Wrap. These mega yachts, dinghies, and everything in between are netted together with ropes, forming this interesting cacophony of cultures. Some franchilets have factions, like how the mafia runs all of the pizza delivery drivers. The courier system is interesting as well, and feels so realistic after seeing real-life shipping get more and more efficient and accessible. What surprised me was the lack of the metaverse environment throughout the story. Early on, it seemed like it would be very important. I felt like the Black Sun Lounge and the expanse of the street were such great sets that just went to waste. I really liked the metaverse's user experience concepts. After dying in metaverse, beings need to come and remove your avatar before you can log back in. Bodies are restricted from moving through walls. The world is unified with a train all around it. Some of the features have direct parallels in modern VR applications like VR Chat and Half-Life Alyx. The social aspect of the metaverse began to feel like a novelty. After a while, the protagonist stopped going to the social environment altogether and instead used their tools more as a spatial computer, and even that became more seldom. More and more time was spent in the real world. I also noticed a lot of discontinuity as I read the story. Perhaps I missed something, but these aspects really stood out. The often antagonist, Raven, early on appears to have a nuclear missile, and apparently there's fear of this nuclear submarine as well. I have no idea where these destructive devices went, or what happened to them. The story of these items seemed to fade away. Hero's wealth and income was also a big question for me. He begins as a pizza driver and freelance hacker who lives in what seems like affordable housing. Then one day he's throwing money around for luxury showers, motorcycles, and more. I don't understand where all this money came from. At least the money led to some great exposition and thrilling action. Hero's regular talks with the librarian felt like this mentally stimulating rabbit hole. Their conversations express these interesting analogies that parallel computer programming and human society, as well as language. A lot of historical and religious examples are used, and the concepts were all explained in a way that coalesced so well with computer software in such an interesting way. The thrills came with action-packed scenes that felt like they were meant for a movie. Breaking into the Wrap, chasing Raven through the metaverse, or even the breakout from the government facility. These were fast-paced, the stakes were raised, and the protagonists always operated with style. Something consistent took away from the thrills and vibrant world building. YT, this incredibly rad skateboarder, is 15, intermittently described in a sexualized way. I am unaware of the author's intent for this plot. I am aware of how it impacted my read. Eventually, the plot takes us through her intimate experience with a man who appears much older. Perhaps this was to teach us more about Raven's story. Maybe the author had a good reason for this to be part of YT's character development, and I just do not understand it. What I do understand is this was an unpleasant experience. It was unexpected. It felt out of character for YT, especially when realizing she earlier chased this older man and was aware he was the antagonist. Something about YT that really improved my experience was her connection with Fido, her short-term rescued dog. When the heartfelt love between YT and Fido extended past Fido's organic self and into his cybernetic being, I genuinely cried. On another note, I discovered many interesting and clever references to computer science. The name itself, Snow Crash, represents the fuzzy and snowy look of old cathode ray tube screens, or CRTs. When no signal is being deployed, the Snow Crash virus in the book is this visual picture that can paralyze humans. It's a black and white bitmap which itself itself looks like a single frame of a snowy monitor. Overall, I found the majority of Snow Crash to be enjoyable. The futuristic USA and the raft of hobbled together boats paints such an incredible picture in my mind. Through this scenery, the factions clashed, and Hero and YT were seen billowing through the center of every point of action. The story unfolded from a billionaire making a buck to a plot spanning religion, society, ancient history, software, and brainwashing. This, and the analogies expressed, kept me enthralled in this stimulating narrative. While some relationships felt out of place and took me out of the story, others, like Fido's, pulled me deeper mentally and emotionally. I found Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson to be a stimulating and thrilling novel about a cyberpunk future that includes a secondary virtual reality environment.